What is going on, guys? It is your boy Cash, and we are here today to talk about the one, the only, the Dizzy. As you can see, I am struggling to level up this woman. And I have been waiting to pretty much safely drop a guide video. I definitely make sure that I get as much information on these before dropping them. I don't want to give you guys any misinformation. I don't do hunts, we don't do any crazy stuff, but we gather all the information and bam, give it to you guys in a nice concise way. And I'm also going to do something that I normally don't do, which is I wanted to start maybe even giving team comp suggestions and maybe even counters, and you guys let me know in the comment section below if you guys like that. But let's go through the basics as we always do. Okay, first off, we're going to just actually talk about her stats. She is an ice mage and her attack is 1039. And if you actually look at all the other mages in the game, at least the Nat 5s, is meant for the mages that seem to be all about disrupting the opponent. She actually has the same attack as ML Baal and Season, whatever. Nah, it's not Season. And also in Zeno. So they actually have all the same attacks. So these are characters that you're looking more to disable the opponent more with. She's not really meant, and at least when you look at the attack, she's not really meant to be this overwhelmingly damaged character, though I know people are building her for damage because you can kind of do that if you really want to. For most of the ones that are high in attack, which is Basar, Tenebria, and Ludwig, they have the highest attack of the mages. So she's not really meant to be sitting there nuking people to the floor. Now her health is 5,000, which is okay. Her speed is 115 though, which is really good, and it's going to allow her to get that first turn, let off the S3 into the S2 combo, as we're going to mention for obvious reasons. Let's go and look at the animations and look at the skills. Alright, here we go, Dizzy Boo. Alright, so first off we have I used to catch fish. I use this to catch fish, and it's really crazy because it's like, oh, how do you catch fish? And it's like I froze them in an icicle block of death. So what the skill does, actually, it has a 25% chance to stun. It cannot be improved up that chance, which is, thank God. It would have made her even more busted than usual. It does hit all targets, and the only thing you can increase is the damage output on it, which is still a sizable amount there, which is a 30% damage increase if you want to Mulligora this up. Still not going to be the thing. If it would have been the thing to scale up first if the stun chance went up, but it does not, and it only stuns for one turn, to keep that in mind. Next up is going to be the Gamma Ray, the S2. Really cool animation. All the characters have really good, all the Guilty Gear characters have great animations. Attacks all enemies with a powerful ray, extending the duration of debuffs by one turn, except for those that prevent the enemy from moving, before decreasing combat readiness by 50%. So obviously this will not extend stuns. If you guys watched my video when I first read her skills, I was so excited. I was like, oh shit, because first they tell you that she has a debuff extender, but it doesn't say that it excludes stun, and then you read later and realize that, and it's like, well, I mean, she's still busted, but not as busted as we thought. As you can see, you can get the cooldown to go down lower, which is always important if you can get something like this, because it's a 50% combat readiness. People will significantly lose their turn when they are hit by this, and it is definitely going to be your first. The third skill and second skill are definitely going to be what you're going to be Mulligoring up first. But it is going to be the battle. Do you do the S3 or the S2 first? So let's look at the S3, the beautiful animation. You guys know we got to look at it. Let's go. Oh, so funny. So if you guys didn't know, I'll probably put in a clip in here if you guys didn't see it before in the other video, but it's so funny. It's just so funny because of the whole aspect of, in Guilty Gear, she's the only one that has a surrender when she gets her insta kill. She actually does not kill them, as you can see. She prevents the blast from actually hitting. She sees the man about to come up, she comes out and I'm like, no, don't do it. And then they see this big ball pass by them, and it's a huge explosion, and then they instantly surrender. That is why you have lower attack, you can't hit anything, and you have no speed because you're basically surrendering. Because if you, in this game, if you have all the 3 of these debuffs, you you might as well quit, because they're vicious. And it's also vicious because you can extend it with the S2. All 3 of these debuffs are extended by the S2. But yeah, let's look at the S3 here. Unleashes a giant explosion to attack all enemies. The attack misses but inflicts decreased speed, attack, and hit chance for 2 turns regardless. Now it is weird that it says regardless, but yes, each of those have their own effective chance to go through. Like they don't all land no matter what. They actually, you might sometimes get just 2, you might get 1, you know, depending on the effective resistance of the target. Just wanted to clarify that. And yes, this is the soul burn as well, so you can soul burn this, the S3 into the S2. It is a 2 turn, 2 soul, 20 souls technically. I just know them by the orbs, but you need 20 souls to actually soul burn this. So there are ways to easily do that. You can also, there's an artifact that we'll obviously talk about that will allow you to do that very, very easily, and allow her to be one of your most damage dealing, or at least just start off the enemy start off with the enemy team with all these debuffs on a 3 turn cooldown, on a 3 turn, well, timer turns. So yes, that is the best. So when we look at this, we're gonna look at, you can get it down to 4 turns, and then this is always 4 turns, but then you can get this down to 3 turns. And this technically is the better, like, of the moves. Like, this one is not gonna do too much damage per se, so I would say you want to get both of them, their cooldowns, as quick as you can. So that's very easy, quick, Molagor investments. But I think then you would finish the S2 first and then finish off the S3. The S3 is nice, but once you're using it more for the debuffs that it puts out before you're looking for it as a damage dealing thing. Also, a good thing to keep in mind here is that the attack misses. So if you guys were talking about, and I guess I'll go more into this when I talk about team comps or counters, is that she does really good against these Assassin Katuja's combos, because you miss and it really doesn't matter. She's still gonna drop all those debuffs. I mean, it's gonna help you out a lot. Same thing with Violets, if you guys have been dealing with those, and those 2 are usually together. Very good way to get around that. And also, it doesn't matter if she's fighting against her opposite element, because even if she happens to miss, well, it will miss regardless, but at least, you know, if this attack misses, it will still land these debuffs, which is really, really, really good. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But that is it about her skills. Let's go on to the gear. If one of you motherfuckers laugh at my gear, I swear to God, nah. I needed to put something on her just so, you know, she doesn't die. I'm at the point where I don't want to fight for too long, but what I want to do is just finish the event, the side story event, so I can actually get the farming, so I can get my more desired gear set on her. Speed is always going to be the best for any character that you do want to go first. She does have decent speed, 115 as we discussed earlier. Effective resistance is still pretty good, especially if you're looking for her to be a disabler that cannot be stopped. That's when you want to use some type of effective resistance. And her debuffs and ability to extend debuffs, especially like a defense break or anything like that, additional to what she already puts out there, is phenomenal. So having her not be able to be stunned is not something that you would want to laugh at. The rage set is always going to be considered when a character, one, like as I said, has a way to cycle their turns, and she does have stuns on. She pretty much has debuffs on every single one of her abilities. The S1 can stun, and that's going to be a debuff to boost it up. The S3 into the S2 is going to be hits on it. Does phenomenally well, and it's a really good chance to utilize something different. You know, like I feel like it's easy when you want a character to do damage, you just put them on, you know, the attack set and some crit, and then that's it. But rage is an option here. I always give rage as an option only when a character has multiple ways of putting debuffs, and the fact that she can extend everyone's debuffs that are on there with the S2 allows her to, if you want her to be one of your damagers, you can go the rage set. Gives you a 30% boost on your damage. The health set is not really that bad. You're not going to see it as often. Probably you'll see it if you're finding that she's dying too much, and then maybe they want to increase her health a little bit. If you just want her to stay alive and just keep debuffs on there, and that is what you want her as her main role. There's pretty much 2 different versions of Dizzy. There's the DPS Dizzy, and there is the disabler Dizzy, whatever one you'd prefer to run. Immunity set, obviously sometimes I don't mention the immunity set, and I feel bad because it is the PvP standard. If you guys want to have a character that is going to go first, you don't want them to be screwed over by anything, immunity is really good to do that, and it's mostly that's really pretty much the only reason where you're going to use it. It doesn't help you in PvE whatsoever, really. If she happens to be outsped, to be screwed over by a stun, by anything of that nature. So yes, immunity set, there it is. Now counter, I would actually say, is definitely a good thing, just because of a tanky variety. Let me be more specific. Only if you're running like a very tanky version of her, and you want to see if you can sit there and sustain and counter attack and get the 25% rolls on stuns. Not the worst thing. I would say maybe if you want to do arena defense, it wouldn't be that bad of an option, because if you guys don't know, arena defense, you know, the odds are always in the defense's favor. So if you want to test that out, go ahead. I wouldn't suggest it as an attacker. Like if you were actually controlling the unit, you probably won't utilize it as much, but it would be pretty funny, because a AoE 25% stun on all targets is nothing to laugh at. You guys see mine on Unity. I did put that on her because I wanted her to just, again, same thing, my argument with the counter set, I wanted to utilize her on Unity so she can attack more often with my teammates, because you know you can only, you know, they attack you, they might not attack Dizzy, but your attackers, when they single target attack, when they do their S1, might attack more often. So then boom, you have more chances for these 25% chance to go off. It's more team dependent. Same thing with the counter. Is she going to be the one tanking damage? Then, you know, you can run the counter. But Unity, if you have a bunch of single attackers that, you know, use the S1, it's really good to have Unity on. That's pretty much the only time I would even suggest Unity, is a team comp based. Again, attack, basics. If you want a person to do damage, you put them on attack crit. End of story. Effectiveness is definitely going to be on there, but I would say more or less on there depending on your sub rolls. If you want to make sure that she lands what she says she's going to land, you know, you can definitely stack this up. You can even go like two or three of these, and like maybe 2 of these Unity, you know, depending on how much you really care about those debuffs landing on the S3. You know, the S1 is a 25% chance it's going to land. Sometimes it's not going to land, but obviously it's about the S3 landing those 3 debuffs, and then of course extending them. The S2 does have an effectiveness check. You do have to pass it, so it doesn't automatically happen. They can resist it, so just keep that in mind. Alright, next up we're going to go into the artifacts. One of my favorite things to do, actually, to be completely honest. I love going through the theory crafting of the artifacts. Let's get it. First up, we got the Abyssal Crown. Now, the Abyssal Crown gives you additional ability to stun after attacking. So since she does have an AoE on all 3 of her skills, it actually gives you a chance, especially if you max it out, a 24% chance to stun every time she attacks. It's ridiculous. A lot of people won't mind running that dice with an AoE attacker. Definitely something, if you guys have never actually tried it out, I would say try it out. It's really crazy to have a AoE attacker randomly stun units, and remember, it's after the turn, after they attack. So like, it doesn't really matter if they miss. If I'm not mistaken, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. You can actually randomly just get a randomly get a stun on a character. It's insane. Etika's Scepter, one of the best mage artifacts in the game. You randomly lower all your cooldowns when you take a turn. It allows you to obviously cycle your cooldown. Obviously, if you got this, you definitely want to rep it out, because then all of a sudden your S3, S2 is coming up way more often. It's really hard for the enemy team to really get anything off, and these bosses are sitting there in debuff city in the raid and inside the abyss. They are sitting there and they're debuffed up to hell. And you're just keeping that up, and you're lowering your cooldowns every time you get a turn. Especially really good if you're fast, your character is fast, because you put a speed debuff on them, and you can have your own speed buff and take a bunch of turns and lower your time. Oof, whoo, it's crazy. Time Matters is a very strange artifact, but it is one that no one really runs because of how unique it is. It does guarantee a skill cooldown when you get a kill. It says when an enemy is killed, which you would lead you to believe that it's when any enemy is killed, but that is not the case. It's only when they actually kill the enemy. It shows it will increase the damage of your next attack to do a little bit more damage. But as you can see, since it requires a kill, and Dizzy in a sense has a little issue doing that, except as you have a really beefed up probably max Mologord S2, maybe even on rage, then maybe you can do that after that, and then you can cycle your combo, kill him with the S2, and then your S1 will do more damage. It's not really too much worth it, in my opinion. Obviously really good everything she does is an AoE attack, so she will give herself combat readiness after she does her S1, 2, or 3. It does not matter. Obviously, the extra attack. Someone lovely explained to me an extra attack is kind of like MLR Mintha. MLR Mintha has a follow-up when they, you know, have stuff. That's what it is, so you don't keep getting combat readiness on combat readiness on combat readiness, but it's still really good. 20% is really good. It would really be good if it worked on counter and dual attack, which this is why, even though it's really good, I do think that the other ones that I've mentioned so far are actually better than Necro Undying. I think they're a little bit better than that, because it still has to be pretty much on her turn and she gets 20%. Meanwhile, some of the other ones just really bolster like her effectiveness as far as a character, and this only happens on your turn. So, you know, I do feel like some of the other ones are a little bit better in the long run. Here is the lovely book that we were talking about. If you do want to start off the fight with this book, you can actually do that, and then you can start off with the S3 Soul Burn into S2, so obviously really good tech. Also, it allows, if you don't even want to use it on Dizzy specifically, you can use it and utilize it on another member of this team on the squad, so that's actually really good, obviously. And you don't even need to necessarily have it maxed. If you just have a idea in mind of how many souls you'll build up for someone that needs 20 souls, you can just have it to like 16 or something like that, and then the way that your moves, the gathering of souls, will actually get you to the 20 and vice versa. You can even start off with 10 or 12 and then do the same thing. So overall really good, but you have to have a major game plan to put this on over something else. Cal Aldera. If the enemy is debuffed, which they damn sure will be, you will do increased damage. Now, I would definitely run this with the raid set to just increase your damage over and over and over. And this is probably how people are eking out damage, by just stacking these damage multipliers on top of each other. And that's kind of what you want to do. And see, I would rather have this than Necro Undying, because this is gonna make the DPS Dizzy that you've always dreamed of, especially since it is a 4-star artifact. Is a little bit easier to have maxed out than, you know, her artifact, which I still haven't gotten. I'm not salty, you're salty. Sirarin, obviously really good. A chance, now she already puts attack decreased hit chance, but she does not do silence, sleep, and poison. More specifically, the one that I'm thinking about here is the silence. You can put a silence on the S3 by doing the S3, silence a bunch of people, and then S2 and extend the silence, which is nuts. You know, when we're thinking about just really shutting it down. But also, if you land a poison, that would be a really good thing to extend and kind of force the enemy to deal with that, you know. So Sirarin is still good in there. Not as great as some of the other ones, but still a great option. Ayala Violin, obviously, hopefully you guys got this from the side story from the challenge. Really good. And again, it's one of those things that doesn't affect after the attack has gone through. It doesn't matter if the attack missed. It will just try to strip a buff, which makes it, let's say if you just don't have a stripper, or you just don't want to rune up a stripper, you know, you don't like them as much, you can just kind of slap this on to one of your mages, and then boom, now they're a stripper. They have the chance to take a buff off of the target. So really good. Obviously, I would say more of a arena thing, though you could use it in certain hunts and things of that nature, but I would say that definitely more of an arena thing, kind of to tech people putting on buffs, and then you have your mage that can now strip immunities off of targets and defense buffs, attacks buffs, while still maintaining their own role. Radiant Forever increases damage and attacks that target all enemies by 25% when fighting an elite or boss enemies, going up to 50% damage, which is nuts. Obviously, this is amazing for her if you need her to help you out in Hunt, Abyss, and of course Raid. If you really need her to do that, she does a phenomenal job at disabling targets, and this will allow her to additionally do way more damage than the average Joe in there, because all her attacks are AoE. So I would definitely suggest this if you want to put this on, just to clear out some stuff, and then you can just take it off. It's nothing, obviously you're not going to use it in arena because it does nothing in arena, so it just allows you to clear up some stuff, utilize it, throw it in the pocket. And of course, the lovely 3-star mentions. Of course, we're gonna have to go with Curse Compass. Curse Compass is a pretty good thing if you have her that fast, if you're confident that she's gonna get that fast. She is only 115, so she can definitely be outsped by other units, then maybe depending on memory imprinting. I have an argument for this one. Just saying, just maybe saying just slightly that it wouldn't be too bad if you just have her, again, like I said, with the counter attack and stuff like that. This is more of a tech to pretty much throw the opponent off guard. They think that they're going to get her out because she's very annoying and very pesky, and you just have something very, very annoying just to screw up people. Remember, in arena defense, one of the best things to do is they go in, they think something is going to be the way it is, and you flip them on their shit. So having a really tanky Dizzy is actually something that I do think people would have to really, they wouldn't even know, like tanky and fast. You're like, oh god, I can't kill her, and you're wasting so many attacks on trying to take out this unit, and then you just get swept out. So I definitely approve of stuff like that. But that's really all I think I see here. Now I'm gonna try to do something I've never done before, which is team comps. Let's talk team comps. First person I think that would be such a great fit, especially if we're talking about arena, is gonna be Auxiliary Lots. He has a AoE silence for 2 turns, and it says 50% there, but obviously it goes up as you Mulligore him up. So you can actually team this up, and he'll go silence everybody, and then you can extend the silence, which pretty much makes a lot of characters null and void. So I really would like to see Auxiliary Lots with Dizzy. Extremely rare to get this combination if you happen to have him, but you do have to respect that Dizzy does have a very easy stun on S1 to kind of get off. So you know, he does do a really good S3 on the stun. So you know, can't forget the guy that deals well with stuns, that the character has stuns. So yeah, I mean, who doesn't work well with her? But again, I just have to point out that she would extend her burns. So you know, it is a very, very good thing to tech. And I mean, she's already such a monster in the meta Silverblade Araminta, but now that you can actually land multiple burns and then have Dizzy follow up behind it is kind of crazy. Going to definitely have to bring up Bellona and of course Tenebria as well, because of their S3s that are pretty much allow them to drop AoE defense breaks on top of the targets. And then yes, Dizzy can then, I mean, yes, she'll S3 and then she can even add on to that, but then she can extend defense break, making it really hard, because I feel like not that many people are running cleansers in arena, and pretty much that's gonna be really, really hard to not have your units die when the defense is broken in half. So definitely really good with Dizzy to kind of extend that, and plus AoE defense break, then you have another character AoEing, and then everyone is just melting out there. Who forgot about this girl here? Now, she's obviously really good with her, because not only can she extend her bleeds, which is actually pretty sick, you know, thinking about a character that can extend her bleeds, but on top of that, the more debuffs that are on the target, she'll do more damage with her S3, and having someone assist and keep those debuffs there will definitely help you out with that. So I think, you know, it's just an honorable mention to really bring up that, you know, this character is really good. Plus they're both water, so you know, now that helps me out when it comes down to doing Wyvern, that I have these two, and you can actually sit there and keep these bleeds up and really just do a ton of damage. Ballin' Sezin, kind of forgot about him. He does have an AoE defense break and speed, but also has unable to heal, another additional thing that we have here that I kind of forgot about. Makes me also think about, of course, we got the boy Haste, obviously AoE bleeds, and then you follow that up and extending his bleeds, and just a lot of damage that they'll have to deal with. I think you guys get the picture. As far as characters, pretty much any character that does stuff that she can extend, I think are really good for her. Everyone can take advantage of her S3 debuff, so it's kind of like, oh, who does that? As far as counters for her, I think there's a couple characters that are really good, but if you do see Dizzy, I do think that the best thing to do is have characters that put up immunity, like Angelica, or just cleansers. You know, Destina should definitely come back, especially because she's the off element, so she won't be affected by pretty much the S1 and S2. Those can miss and do nothing. But yeah, I think Destina really should be making a comeback. If you guys have her, she'll definitely do really good against Dizzy. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.